Marco, Vanier Cup champion, head coach for the Montreal Carabins. Thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Appreciate you.
No problem. I wanted to make sure that we're talking about your own personal history as well, because this Vanier Cup is not the first one. It's actually the third one that you have won, but you've seen a lot of success in a multitude of different positions, with Team Quebec winning the Canada Cup, and obviously a three-time Vanier Cup champion as an offensive coordinator and as a head coach. Is there something that you've found as a similarity trait between all of the championship teams that you have coached at multitude of different levels?
Obviously, I think team chemistry is always the key in any team, at any level, in any league. So it sounds a little cheesy sometimes, but I think I've coached some good teams that had bad team chemistry that didn't accomplish half of what they should have, in my opinion. And then you have some teams that are pretty special, but they have a great team unity, great bonding, great leadership, and sometimes you can accomplish big things with that.
You started off in the U Sports era coaching with the Laval Rouge et Or and Coach Glenn Constantine, obviously the winningest coach in all of U Sports history. What are some of the things that you learned from him in your time with Laval?
I think he's taught me a lot as far as trusting your assistants, hiring people you believe in and let them do their work. When Glenn hired me in 2010, he pretty much supported me but let me do my own thing and let me be myself. And that's something I picked up from him and I try to use every day with our coaches.
Especially in the RSEQ, I don't think that there is a rivalry like the Carabins versus the Rouge et Or, and certainly with yourself having had a time on both sides. What does that rivalry mean to you and mean to the RSEQ and U Sports in general, in your opinion?
I think it's great. I think it's outstanding. I mean, when we play those games, all the ex-players from Laval or Montreal will change their social media pictures. And it's like a big rivalry that started, I think, from Montreal and Quebec in the hockey and the NHL when the Nordiques were around. So we kind of lost that. So Laval, Rouge et Or and the University of Montreal kind of recreated that flame, that rivalry. So it's outstanding, but it's two organizations that really respect each other, two staffs and players that really respect each other. Most of them have played together through CEGEPs or high school. So it's awesome, it's fun, and it's always the greatest games to be around for sure.
Now, we've talked about it before, and you've mentioned it earlier. In the RSEQ, it is so important to have a defense-first team, or at least a very strong defensive team. But to go along with that, you need a high-powered offense, and with a guy like Jonathan Senecal, the Hec Creighton winner, he is one of the best, if not the best, in all of U Sports this year. With his ability to run outside of the pocket and to be athletic, how do you best utilize him and his talents while also keeping him within the offensive game plan to execute at the highest level?
So yeah, I think you need to play great defensive football if you ever want to get out of our conference. Every team that comes out any year, you have to be a solid defensive team. Now, as far as Jonathan goes, he's a super athlete, great athlete, probably one of the top 3 athletes on our football team, but we want to teach him how to play the quarterback position, and that, I think he does a great job of that, reading defenses, going through his progressions, but you never want to take that athletic ability away from a quarterback. So it drives defenses crazy, it gives us key first downs, but we try to let him play the position, go through his progressions, and the running will come once he doesn't see what he likes or he feels defenses are cheating a little bit. So that's how we try to keep a balance.
Mm-hmm. You have obviously outstanding players on both sides of the ball here. We've seen a few of them at the East-West Bowl here, including guys like Harold Nissan, and all of the incredible things that they are able to do. When you look at the team chemistry that you had and coming out and beating Laval every single game this year, what does that mean? How do you come together in something along those lines to make sure that everybody is together and going forward to beat one of the best teams in the country on a consistent basis?
Well, I think it's not easy, that's for sure. It's a 12-month process. We talk about culture, we talk about process, we talk about character. It takes a lot to go through a season, injuries, ups, downs. So I think it's something we work on 12 months a year, building our chemistry, but we're really focused on process and not on results. And I keep telling the guys, no matter what happens, week in, week out, we'll always go through the good and the bad that we've done on that game before we ever talk about results and scoreboards. Mm-hmm. So I'm really happy about the way we handled that last year. Really excited about the upcoming season because we got a great core of players coming back. So now we got to just restart the whole thing and start working on our process once again.
Certainly. And now you talked about how incredible it is to beat a team like Laval on a consistent basis, the second last game of the season in dominating fashion and with a 28-0 victory. And then immediately afterwards to end the season, obviously it's that heartbreaking loss to Concordia. How does that loss help reset and gain and help lead you to the Vanier Cup victory that you had this year?
I think it was probably the key factor. Like you said, we had a great win, a big win against Laval, probably the biggest in our history. So it's always, we try to bring the players back down to earth, and we try to tell them that we focus on the process and 1 week at a time. But I think that loss kind of brought everybody back down to earth and brought us back to who we were, the underdogs, and we're built on work, speed, strength, and flying around. So I think that brought us back to basics, and I honestly think that's the best thing that could have happened to us at that point in time. And I always say, in a season you'll have ups, you'll have downs, but it's how you react and how you respond to all of that. So I was extremely happy about the way we responded after that loss.
Certainly, it's probably the best you could possibly respond winning the national championship, but especially in the way that you folks went out and did it. You won the Dunsmore Cup against phenomenal opponent. You dominate against the Western Mustangs in the national semi, and then you play against UBC. And now you've had experience with 3 different conferences and the top tier of those conferences. In your opinion, are you adjusting how you play to the opponent that you're going against, or is it the same game plan, just a different color, different team in front of you?
We'll change some things, but we always want to stay true to ourselves. Like, we play aggressive defense, and we like to be aggressive on offense as well. So that's not going to change regardless of who we're up against. But obviously, you're going to try to game plan and try to see what they're comfortable with, what they're a little bit less comfortable with, especially coming out of different conferences. And we'll obviously try to attack them on those points. But we're always going to stay true to who we are and play our brand of football regardless of the opponent.
When you're going into the Vanier Cup and you're getting everybody excited, it's only in Kingston, so it's a good drive away. You've got a strong contingency of hungry Carabins fans who want to see a victory. But when you're looking at the UBC team that you had against, 2 offensive linemen who are now in the NFL, along with a quarterback in Garrett Rooker, who is a star player, what's the game plan going into something like that when you see an offense that has the capability to jump off at any point?
I think it's focus on ourselves, focus on the way we've played football the whole season prior to that game. We knew they had a great offense, but we also knew we had a great defense. So I felt we matched up well versus them, and we knew they'd make some plays because they had great football players on that side. But you got to limit how many plays they make, and we felt pretty good about our offense as well. So, I mean, when you go into a great game like that, you got to focus on your execution because we don't know the teams very well. We got 4 days to prepare. There's the travel involved. You're staying in Kingston. You're not in your facilities anymore. So everything is out of routine a little bit. So you got to really focus on who you are, play the same type of brand of football that we've played all year. And that's what we tried to do.
Certainly it was successful. You ended the season as Vanier Cup champions. And the one constant that I've seen throughout the entire year was the support from those fans. I was at the Vanier Cup this year. That stadium was rocking. It felt like a home game. What is it like playing in front of such an impassioned fan base like the Carabins?
We're blessed. It's amazing. It's a great atmosphere to play in our stadium. When you're at our stadium, it's only 5,000 fans, but the noise factor, the crowd, they get behind us. It's a super atmosphere, and then they follow us around, like you said. Like, we had a great fan base when we went to Kingston, so it's awesome to see the support. The kids love it. It gives them an extra level of energy, if we may, and it's amazing. We're really, truly happy and blessed to have those fans with us for sure.
And then lastly, obviously you come off of the peak, the pinnacle. You win the Vanier Cup this year. How do you keep your kids who are coming back focused on that was last year, this is this year, we have another year to prove ourselves? That's
exactly how we do it. For us, we'll have a ring ceremony here on Wednesday, but we haven't spoken about last year since January. And now we're going to go through the ring ceremony, and the kids deserve it, but that's the end of that. Like, we're really focused on 2024. Since January, we have a great group of kids. They feel like they have more to show and more to do. That it's a bunch of guys that have grown up together. They were in year 3 together last year. They're entering year 4 together. We only lose 3 starters. So it's a team that feels like they still have lots of great football to play, and they want to show it again.
Coach Marco, it has been a genuine pleasure. Congratulations on being the Vanier Cup champions in 2023, and all the best to you in 2024.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you.